Running a brokerage is hard work, so whether you're focused on building your own sales pipeline, hiring the best agents, leveling up your team's production, or protecting the culture you've built, you're in the right place. Real estate brings the challenges, and we share the solution. Welcome to the show dedicated to broker entrepreneurs. Welcome to the Brokerpreneur podcast. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Brokerpreneur podcast. I'm looking up here at the lights, make sure all the lights are on. I'm Dr. Ben Spears, Doctor of Flow. I'm here with the big guy as usual, Matt Vi. What's up, Matt?
You know, Ben, I'm doing fantastic. What's up? We got a lot going on, which of course we absolutely positively love. We got I've been able this week. I bumped into a bunch of podcast listeners.
Oh, nice
different stuff. Yeah, we were making sure that people were getting downloads and all that kind of stuff. Following up because we got a new system that's delivering them. So I just wanted to check in with everybody. And it's always good to hear from people that are doing the podcast, right? They're out there listening to it, talk to.
Well, we're doing the podcast.
Well, you know what I mean. They're out there.
Yeah, listening,
but they're going, man, I'm digging this. I'm getting into this. So they're living it, which I love that. So.
Yeah, we absolutely love you guys. That's for sure.
Yep.
It's Saturday, Matt.
It is, Ben. You know why? Because that's how damn busy we've been.
That's right.
So we got to come in and bust these out on Saturday, which I love. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right, we're talking. I'm not going to say what we're talking about, right? Before I ask you what we're talking about, what are we going to do later? No, I'm joking. What are we talking about today?
So we're hearing so much about data, right?
Yeah.
And just a data-driven approach to real estate and how AI is going to take over the world and all that kind of stuff and everything. Wanted to give some perspective on it.
Okay.
So there's probably a lot of people getting it. So our community. I think this is the truth of our community is, man, they're busy. They're just out there hustling, getting stuff done, working. They got 58,000 things coming from 100,000 different directions. Sometimes they don't have a chance to slow down and look at what is going on in the peripheral because they're so focused on what's going on in front of them, right? That's why, my shirt, if you're looking at it, right, Brokerpreneur is broker plus hustle, baby.
Minus peripheral.
Minus peripheral. That's exactly right. And so that's why we want to kind of bring some of these topics that we bring is so that if you are busy, you get kind of a little bit of an overview, and then you can go dig into it if you want, or you've got enough where you can kind of feel comfortable with it, right?
Yeah.
And so data-driven approach, because there's just so much talk about how important it is and everything, which it is, but again, there's a lot of peripheral with it.
Yeah.
So that's what we're gonna touch on a little bit of that today.
Yeah, I feel like that was the whole podcast.
Nope.
Nowhere
near it.
I feel like that was the whole podcast in the intro there, guys. Anyway, wherever you're watching this or listening to it, make sure to hit that follow or subscribe button. We'd really appreciate it. There's no better time than right now to go down in the description below and click the link that says register for BNSSS, Brokerpreneur Not So Secret Society.
We had another good one yesterday.
Yeah, it was so good. And we're having great conversations in there. You guys are really missing out if you're not there. It is absolutely free. It's Matt and I live from 12 to 1 Eastern Standard Time.
A bunch of other brokers live too.
Oh, yeah, of course. And a bunch of other brokers on there live as well. 12 to 1 Eastern Standard Time every single Friday. You just have to click the link below and say, send me the login details, and you can come and hang out with us. And, you can ask your questions, whether it be recruiting, retention, agent productivity, and I will answer them all because I'm the resident expert.
That's right.
In all those things. And then Matt just sits around. He just makes jokes and can't keep him serious.
I run the sideshow.
Yeah, exactly. He just runs the freak show. Awesome, Matt. So you uncovered a lot. Yeah. Right, in what we're talking about. So I'm just going to let you kind of pick the first thing that you want to go into.
So a data-driven approach, right? So there's a difference between a strategy and a plan. We're not going to get into that, okay? But there's a difference between a strategy and a plan in the big picture of things.
Yep.
And a data-driven approach basically means, are you taking the available information, typically bulk data, and are you making adjustments to your strategy and then your plan based on those large pieces of data? Okay. So I think as agents, I think that we kind of do this on so let me say it this way, right? A data-driven approach is a CMA, That's a data-driven approach.
Yes.
Okay, you're taking the data of all the things that have sold, how long were they on the market, square footage, all that kind of stuff. You're compressing all of that. When you're compressing it, you're helping a seller make a decision on what they put their property on the market for.
Gotcha.
That's a data-driven approach. Okay, and so what you'll hear from a lot of people is that how important a data-driven approach is in your business as a broker.
Yep.
I would absolutely agree. It can positively impact it, and you cannot ignore it. 100% agree with that. Okay.
Yes.
But you should be doing it so that it creates your strategy, and then you review your strategy and the data at the same time, and then you make adjustments to your plan. That's where I think a lot of the issue comes in with people that, some people love data, right?
Yeah.
And if you let them, they will, they will just bring data into everything. All right. And so you can be really careful to not overanalyze. I know, right?
I don't know any of those people.
Be very careful to overanalyze any little step that you make.
Yeah.
Right? Man, there is no solution better than action.
Yeah.
I don't care about all the data. You can have all the data in the world.
Yeah.
But you got to act.
Yeah.
Right?
Looking at data can't be your strategy.
Absolutely. And so what you have to do is you have to acknowledge how deep you want to go in that data. How much of that do you want to look at before you actually make some of the decisions, right?
Yeah.
And there's people that can help you make some of those decisions for sure.
Of course.
But it's just like, let's go back to the CMA. So you as the real estate agent are the expert. You not only know where to get that data from, you know what parts of that data to look at. You know how to compress that data so that the seller can make an informed decision.
Yeah.
Right. That's the same thing that should be happening on your business, right? So in some coming up podcasts, we're going to talk a little bit about how you can make revenue in ways other than real estate. The commissions off of the sale of residential real estate transactions. Okay. So, if that's part of your strategy is to make money other ways other than just off of a real estate commission, which absolutely 100% it has to be. Okay. Mm-hmm. But if that's part of what you want to do, where are you going to get that data from? That's really the question. Because going back to the CMA example says go to the MLS, go to the tax records, pull all that information, and then compress the parts that you know that you should be compressing, right? Mm-hmm. If you're running a real estate brokerage and you're trying to make a decision on a strategy, where are you going to pull that data from in order to get that accurate? In order to get that accurate data, here's what I'm going to stress, and the reason why I wanted to talk about all of this. For some reason, the conversation has collided that a data-driven decision has a lot to do with AI and ChatGPT and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we use AI for some of the things that we do.
Of course.
So we have campaigns that we put together that our brokers use, that they use to make sure they're delivering a lot of value to the recruits that they're talking to. Okay.
Yep.
Now, so I know what a good letter looks like. You got a great marketing background. You know what a good letter looks like, a good text, what call to actions are, and all that kind of stuff. We went to AI and we said, how long should these be? What frequency should they be? Should we do 2 texts and then 1 email, or should it be right? And so that's what we went to AI for, because we went to it for a specific answer.
Yeah.
This is what is the reason why we're talking about this. This is what's kind of sickening me on this. Okay. A lot of people are out there saying, hey, go to ChatGPT, go to this, and it's going to really level up and change your business. And I've sat in and listened to a couple of those things, and you've got people going in there and throwing prompts in that are kicking out stuff that I would consider trash, right?
Yeah.
It's just not, and they're talking about how easy it was and how simple it was and how that can change your business and it's going to help your content and it's going to okay, that's like saying that I'm going to go to an MLS that is in another state and get comps and comparables for information for a CMA I'm doing in a local subdivision.
Yeah.
Okay. Sometimes, other times it's pulling that exact right information.
Of course.
You have to have a plan of deciphering which one of those is right.
Yeah.
So it's not just about saying I'm going to use data to make sure that I'm going to make a decision. Where are you getting the data? What's your plan for where you're getting the data? How are you going to make sure it's the right data? How are you going to pay? So that's where the issue comes in with a lot of brokers. Is they're like, okay, I know I need to make better decisions on this. I know I need to have more information. Where do I start? The answer is not going to ChatGPT and just plugging something in there. The answer is knowing what results you want as an example with the CMA, I want to know that I'm putting the property on the market at the right price so that I get the results that the seller can somewhat rely on. That's where you have to start before you start going and grabbing data from wherever you're grabbing data from.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely not. I'm sure. Yeah. Absolutely does. So that's talking about use case, right? Usage. There are ways to obviously use data traditionally, right. To look at trends. Yep. Right. Which obviously helps you stay more competitive in the market, and obviously allows you, if you're still if you're still selling, then allows you to provide customer service to your buyers and sellers. If it's I'm a non-competing broker, it also allows you ways to notice trends on how to provide better service to your agents or the recruits that you're looking for. Right. So let's dive into trends a little bit, staying competitive, and basically how to use that in that, or you tell me how to maybe not use it. We'll see to do that. Hey, Dr. Ben here. I hope you're enjoying this episode. If sometimes you feel overloaded or alone when it comes to building your brokerage, I want you to know that we are here for you. There's so much support available to agents, but hardly any dedicated to brokers. I want to personally invite you to schedule a complimentary strategy call where Matt will help you build a 3-step profitability plan that will immediately produce results. This is not a sales pitch. There's no obligation. Simply click the link in the description below. Now let's get back to the show.
Yeah, so begin with your, that kind of goes back to what we were talking about just a second ago to start with. What segments do you want to use it in? What do you really want the data for? So figure those out. Do you want to know what's going on with trends in the data? I'll tell you something from a data standpoint, something that I think a lot of people overlook that they shouldn't overlook, in my opinion, is National Association of Realtors puts out a lot of great information, and they are compiling it from huge, massive amounts of data. And they're throwing it in. The chief economist puts a report out that's monthly and quarterly. Your local state association probably puts out something, probably quarterly and maybe monthly. Your local association probably does that. And that is all somebody else that is super smart about data, compressing it and all putting it in a way that you can do something with it. If you want your agents to have a better idea about what's going on in the market and the trends, my gosh, shouldn't you be looking at that data first? Yeah. Somebody has already compiled it. So an example, let's go back to the CMA example, because I think that's something that we all can grab onto. How hard would it be for you as an agent if there was not a CMA capability inside the MLS? If there was no way to compare the properties, you literally just had to go through and search street by street. Right? You know how hard that would be to get the information, how inaccurate the information would be whenever you finally did it, how many people wouldn't be good, right? Yeah. Okay. Is that the same thing that we're doing whenever we're giving information to our agents about the market when we're not going to a source that has already compiled it? NAR has already compiled it. They put out annually, they put out a report of buyer and seller profiles. And they pull a bunch of data from a bunch of places that says, this is who's buying and who's selling, and here's their characteristics. Are we making sure that we're taking that data and relating it to our agents so that they know how to have those conversations so they can make adjustments in their business? That's us taking that information and talking to a seller in the CMA example, talking to the seller and saying, hey, Mr. Seller, I was able to compile this information. Here's the part that's going to help you make a better decision. Yeah. Are we doing that with our agents? That's one use case, for lack of a better way of putting it. Another, in my opinion, another use case is in your content that you're putting out, social media and stuff like that, right? We push, so we have masterminds all the time. We've got agent masterminds that are on Thursday. People are welcome to come to it. If you're a broker out there and you just want to offer something to your agents that's super powerful to them, there's no catch to this. Just get in touch with us. We'll let you know how you can get your agents involved. It's really good. It's a mastermind. There's always a bunch of agents in there, but we bring information to that scenario that is about how to leverage social media. And a lot of what we talk about with your content are things about educating the public. Well, you want to put good information out there. Where are you getting that from? Are you just relying on your own opinion and your own 30, 50 transactions a year in order to make that decision? Or are you going back to some larger data source on a regular basis and comparing that information and saying, this is what's going on in the market? Or did you read a headline in the newspaper and say, oh, the newspaper says we're down 22%. My gosh, I put it on social media. We're down 22%. I hope like hell you're not doing that. Go get real data from real places.
People are, you know it.
I know that. Not our brokers.
No, not ours. No.
Hey, we're broker plus hustle, baby.
Yeah, brokerpreneurs would not do that.
That's right.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying there are people out there doing
Yeah, absolutely. And so go to a good place and use that information. Use it to educate your agents so that they can make smart decisions with what's going on in the business, and use it and show them how to use it for their content that is truly delivering value to the people that the people in their market.
Yeah, perfect. So, you know, my last little note here talks about customer satisfaction.
Yep. Versus customer service.
Yeah, versus customer service.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me. Talk to me, Goose.
Yep, I hear you. So customer satisfaction during customer service. We've done a bunch of podcasts. I'm not going to belabor that. Customer service is what you want to deliver to them. Is what you think that you want. Customer satisfaction is, did they get what they wanted out of their interaction with you? Okay. Customer satisfaction is what customers want. Okay, they don't just want what you think good service is.
Oh, for sure.
Right. Different conversation. So between the two of those, though, you have to start tracking that. You have to start tracking that data. Okay, I think everybody knows that.
How do you track that? Like reviews?
Yeah, reviews and testimonials, things along that line. Okay. That's kind of the basic step one of it. But that data is just your data. Okay. Here's what if you love digging into the data, if you enjoy that part of what's going on with the data, absolutely you can start going and looking at other people that have a lot of reviews, and see what they're getting in their marketplace. If I was deciding to get into commercial real estate, one of the things that I would do is I would want to look at the data that is available to me from that customer satisfaction standpoint. So I would go to places where there were reviews for commercial real estate agents, and I'd start looking at what agents were getting great reviews, because potentially I want to recruit them.
Yeah.
But number two, what are people saying in those reviews, right? How many times have you really read the review? Right. So-and-so helped me buy my house. Thanks, Bob. Right. And that's that. But what I would be looking for is, Bob was really attentive, and he made sure that I got the information as quickly as possible. I needed to make a decision on where to move my business, and he was able to get me the everything that was available in the area within a couple of hours of me asking for it. Man, I would write that down somewhere and make sure that was part of it. Okay.
Yeah.
So that data is being collected. Are you leveraging it in order to make more strategic decisions? Now, that is a very manual way of finding that.
Of course.
Okay, don't get me wrong. It's a very manual way of finding it. However, if I'm looking to bust into that market of commercial real estate, I need to go to the CCIM network. I need to go to LoopNet. I need to go to wherever I can find any type of reviews and see who is crushing it in there and what people are saying, and am I able to deliver that? Gotcha. If I can't even find where those reviews are, that is a warning sign of whether I should be in commercial real estate or not.
Yeah, exactly. And don't tell anybody. If you can't, if you want to get business, don't tell anybody. So, some steps, right? So let's talk about some action things that they can actually take away from this. Utilizing a data-driven approach, because there are definitely people out there like, listen, I just hate anything data. Yep. There's some people out there, they're like, man, I love everything data. Right. And then obviously there's a few people in between. It's the evil they have to deal with. Yeah, right? Exactly. So it's like, how do we come up with like an action step that's going to be pleasing necessarily to the masses? So how many times have we told people know thyself, right? Yeah. 8,438 trillion, right? Trillion, yeah. Exact number. All right. So it's a lot. Yeah. Okay. And but absolutely, are you good at really looking into data? Okay. Here's what I'd urge you to not do. Man, I really hate data. I hate looking at data. I hate how the data has anything to do with my business. You know what I'm going to do? I want to hire a data consultant to really help me dig into my data. Man, that would just be atrocious in my opinion, right? Yeah. What you have to do is you have to figure out who you are and what you're going to do and what you need to accomplish with your business, and then decide whether you're willing to dig into that. If you're not, here's what I'd urge you to do. Is there someone else close to you that likes that you can lean on for that? Yeah.
Okay. So do you have an agent? It's that mindset, right? When you look through your roster, you're like, oh man, Billy Bobby. Every time we talk, he opens up a spreadsheet and starts busting, right? And not that a spreadsheet indicates loves data, but everybody gets the point. Yeah. Is there somebody that is just that person? Can you go to them and say, hey, look, I really want to start paying attention to certain factors of what's going on in the market, and I really want to start collecting data from different places and tracking it so that we can see what's going on and it can help us make better decisions in our business. If you can, if that's something that you want to do, is there somebody that can help you? Okay. Yeah. If you don't want to do it yourself, is there somebody that can help you? Then start looking at data sources.
Okay.
What happens instead is someone sees an ad on wherever it is, and somebody's a guru or an expert that says, you should be using data, and then you click on their profile and it says, here's the system you should use, and you sit down and you do that trial, and you're like, man, this is all this data and all these things, and I can click on all this, and the person's whizzing through it, and you're like, man, this is sexy as hell. I want to spend X amount of dollars per month. This is the greatest thing ever. 30 days later, you're sitting there by yourself, barely remember your damn login.
Oh, yeah.
You go in, you're lost, and you're like, what am I going to do with this data again? Okay, let me just click on the few things. Let me reach out to chat and see if somebody can help me with whatever and figure out what. And the next thing you know, you're lost on something you're spending money on.
Yeah.
And it's not the tech company's fault. The tech company's job is to sell that to you.
Of course.
Okay? And they've done a great job of compiling it. If you don't know where you're going to use it, how you're going to use it, or if you're the right person to use it, don't freaking buy it.
Right.
Don't spend a dime on it. Once you've got those other things figured out, man, lean into it. Yeah. Right? You might buy a program that you're paying for as the broker, and one of your agents, who is not a top producing agent, but that loves data, is going in there twice a week and building reports that you and your team can share in the marketplace.
Yeah.
And it's also telling you who the best recruits are, and it's also doing this and doing that. All of that data is coming from that program, but you got somebody that wants to lean into it, because to begin with, you know thyself, you figure out who's going to help, and then you decide what information you want to pull from that.
Yeah, I love that. I love that so much that I'm going to make that the end of the podcast.
I hear you.
Right. I'm just saying, it was a good action step. Because I'm definitely one of those people. I'll admit that I can get lost in the data. Mm-hmm. Right, like I love it. I would probably prefer to do my CMAs by going house by house, street by street. Like that's probably just that sounds kind of fun to me. I'm not gonna lie,
right.
But yeah, that's a great mindset. That's a great approach as far as looking at that. I think everyone can kind of take a step back and look at that. If there's any questions that you guys have about this,
yeah,
man. Friday,
right?
That's what Friday's all about. Absolutely. Right? Because we know
when we know great data people. We know people that can
Absolutely.
Help you out with that. Right?
Absolutely.
If you're like, shit, I really need to dig into this, and come in on Friday. We'll talk to you about it. See exactly what you're looking for, and then figure out whether you need an assistant and help you figure out whether you need an assistant helping you do this, or whether you need a consultant to help you do this and really dig into it. Yep. Please don't start spending the money before you really think about that. I can't stress that enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
And don't sit there and try and just figure it out on your own.
Absolutely.
Because we're here to help. Awesome. Well, Matt, thank you so much for being on our show today.
You're welcome, Ben. Glad to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have to have you on as a repeat guest sometime.
Let's do that.
Well, hey guys, wherever you're listening to this, whether it be iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Deezer, or any of those platforms, make sure you hit that follow button. If you're watching us on YouTube, what's up?
What's up?
Make sure you hit that red subscribe button, that bell right beside it, to get notified every time we drop a new episode. I'm going to add some extra, right? Leave a comment if you're on YouTube as well. Also hit that like button. That definitely helps us from an algorithm standpoint.
Yep.
And there's no better time than the present than to go to brokerpreneurpodcast.com. Check out all the cool things that we have to help you grow your brokerage, no matter what phase or stage of the business that you're in. Matt, we bring on great guests just like you every single episode.
I gotcha.
For one reason alone. Tell them why that is.
Man, we just want to be part of your win.